Yo, what's going on, everybody? Dave Loughy with Chopper. We're back Friday. Picks for every game, August 11th, week one of the preseason. We got some good ones today for sure. So buckle up and I'll spare you the pleasantries. Just know, all I'm doing every single day for the preseason, I'm going to do all the research I can. I'm going to find you every bit of information we can. I'm going to throw it into this video. Tail me if you'd like. That's great. If not, you want to fade? No offense taken to that. Let's have some fun. Football's finally back, and we're going to enjoy it. So hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know your favorite picks down below as well. You agree, disagree, one way or another. Let's get into it, have some fun, and follow me at Loughy_D on Twitter, LOUGHY_D, and we can shoot the shit there after this video is over. All right, let's make it happen. First up, we got 6 games today. I think we only have one late game, and that is Denver, Arizona. I think everything else is at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, matter of fact, it is. First game, though, you got Green Bay laying 4.5 against Cincinnati. Matt LaFleur said in this game, and this one's in Cincinnati, by the way, 35-point total. LaFleur said that Jordan Love and the starters would play in some capacity. I don't know what to make of that. And we know that last year, like Aaron Rodgers wasn't playing in week 1. Jordan Love was, but Jordan Love wasn't the starter. Behind him, though, you have 5th-round rookie Sean Clifford. 7th-round rookie from 2018, Alex Magoo, are the other quarterbacks on the Packers roster. So there's that. And these teams, though, one thing you guys got to consider, too, if you're betting the preseason, like, you know, it's coaching, it's quarterbacks and all that stuff. But these joint practices, a lot of these coaches are using that as preseason games. We saw that last year as well, especially since it's been cut down to 3 and not 4 preseason games. They've had joint practices already. Green Bay and Cincinnati this week. And with a lot of coaches viewing it that way, like as a preseason game for the starters, I don't know how much action you're going to see from these guys. Like, take for Cincinnati, for example. You have no Joe Burrow already. He's dealing with an injury. Trevor Siemian and Jake Browning are expected to split reps for Cincinnati, according to Zach Taylor. I think it's possible that Siemian plays a half or maybe even more because Joe Burrow, you got this injury status right now. And I know Taylor's been kind of tight-lipped. The other day he was asked about the injury, and he's like, it's several weeks from when I said it was several weeks. So we don't know. Like, is Burrow going to be back for week 1? It probably makes sense that with less than a month to go for the season, that you might start seeing, you know, Siemian getting a lot of work in the preseason in the event that Joe Burrow's not ready and can't get on the field by week 1. But here's the thing, man. Both of these coaches are 3-7 in the preseason. They're 1-2 in week 1. Taylor's 5-5 against the spread. LaFleur is 3-7 against the spread. Not a game that I absolutely love, but I would take the 4.5 points with the Bengals here. That's a lot of points at home. 35-point total is a very low total as well. And assuming Jordan Love doesn't play that much, which I think is possible, you're talking about Sean Clifford and Alex Magoo being your backups there. Trevor Siemian, certainly no drop-off from that. Next up, we got the New York Giants laying 3 points on the road against the Detroit Lions. 35-point total here. So another low total. And another game where both teams have held joint practices. Only 4 teams have held joint practices this week. Next week, it's a ton. But 3 of them are from Friday's wave of games. So I don't know how much you're going to see from starters this week. Dan Campbell already said a couple things. He's like, the guys, he basically insinuated that you're not going to see Jared Goff in this one, but he intends on dousing, he said, Jamison Williams in preseason reps, which is kind of interesting, especially considering they just brought in Teddy Bridgewater and they have Nate Sudfeld as well, 2 backup quarterbacks who can actually get him the ball, not guys who can't throw the football at all. Lions drafted Hendon Hooker, too, in the 3rd round, but he's still recovering from that ACL injury, so I think you should see a heavy dose of Bridgewater and Sudfeld here, which makes sense because Bridgewater just signed a few days ago. You'd think you'd want to get him a decent amount of like in-game action here. And then on the Giants side, Tyrod Taylor's going to get some opportunities. Behind him, it's undrafted rookie Tommy DeVito. The only question now is how much Daniel Jones are we going to see? He's struggled in joint practices, and he also played a good amount in week 1 last year. So it's possible we could see him. If we get word that he's not playing, I would love the Lions at +3, no doubt about it. But for now, I'm actually leaning over 35 in this game. You can get that on Caesars at 35. It's 35 and a half, 36 at other books that I saw. By the way, I dropped the link in the description. I'll tell you a million times, you always want to be on as many sports books as possible. Stretch your dollar as far as it can go. Never bet a bad line or bad odds when you can get them somewhere else. So I threw a link in the description. Click it. It's all of my favorite sports books promos, all of my favorite books and all of my favorite promos from across the industry. If you've got some money sitting around, even if it's 10, 20 bucks to spread across these sites, take advantage of it, especially heading into football season, and grab some free money on a lot of these promos. So check the link out in the description and in the pinned comment, and make sure if you're hitting this over, you're getting the best number on it. Right now, over 35 at Caesars is the best place to do it. And last year, these two teams played 6 combined preseason games. Not together, obviously, but they both played 6 preseason games. The average score in those games was 46.7, with 5 of them soaring over the total. So as far as the spread goes, Dable was 0-3 last year against the spread in his first season. Campbell's 1-4-1 against the spread through 2 years. Doesn't tell us much. Let's see what happens with Daniel Jones. If we get word that he's not starting, I would go ahead and hammer that +3 for the Lions, because look, let's be honest, Teddy Bridgewater and Nate Sudfeld is not a bad 1-2 punch if they're both splitting a half and you're not getting any Daniel Jones. But keep that in mind. We don't know yet. Next up, Washington at Cleveland. Commanders getting 3 points on the road, 38.5 point total here. So Kevin Stefanski already said he's going to start Deshaun Watson. Then Joshua Dobbs is going to play. And then you'll see Kellen Mond and probably DTR, who looked phenomenal in the Hall of Fame game. Stefanski's 5-2 in the preseason, 4-2-1 against the spread. Ron Rivera, kind of just he's 21-21 in the preseason. He's 20-21-1 against the spread. Doesn't tell us anything. The Commanders have Sam Howell. They have Jacoby Brissett behind them. They have Jake Fromm. This is really one of those games where I would lean Cleveland -3, the spot I'm going to hit. There's 2 spots I'm actually betting among these. The first one is the over 35 in the Detroit game. Among these 6 games we're talking, and then the other ones are mostly leans. I would lean Browns -3 here, and let's move on to the next game, because I think we got some really good stuff that we're going to be able to tackle. So this is not one of them. I'd love to know where you guys stand on Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins in the preseason, but he hasn't given us much, at least not in his first year. Another game where we've seen joint practices between these two teams. I know Tua and the offense has struggled, so maybe Mike McDaniels does start these guys. The problem, if we're evaluating or trying to analyze this game, is that Mike McDaniels hasn't given us shit. And last year, you remember, he was just speaking in circles. There's nothing you can really decipher from it. And even if you do, it still doesn't make a lot of sense. So I don't like betting Mike McDaniel preseason games unless there's something that I can actually take away from it that's substantial. And in this case, there isn't. I can say this. In week 1 of last year, as a first-year head coach, he played Skylar Thompson the entire game. There was no Tua. There was no Teddy Bridgewater. He played Skylar Thompson the entire game. But now there's a quarterback battle, not with Tua, but for the backup position. And Mike McDaniel has actually alluded to that. So it's Skylar Thompson and it's Mike White, who was the backup for the Jets last year and got some starting opportunities in the previous 2 years. So I think it makes the most sense if we were to just kind of use deductive reasoning here that both of these guys get a half. For Atlanta, Arthur Smith said that the starters are going to play, but didn't say how much. Bunch of young guys, second year, third round player in Desmond Ridder. You know, Kyle Pitts has dealt with, like, all of these guys have been hurt or just are young, and it's tough. Like, how much Bijan Robinson do we see? How much Drake London do we see? I don't have an answer for that. I know that Ritter's going to get some opportunities, but then behind him you have Taylor Heineke, who is, you know, has a lot of experience as a starter, and then probably some Logan Woodside too. Do you guys have a feel for this game? I certainly don't. I mean, I'd lean Miami +2.5. But the good thing about this is you don't have to bet every single one of these games, and you certainly shouldn't. This is one that I'm staying away from. Just too much uncertainty. Got 2 games left to go here. Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. Pittsburgh's -2.5 at Tampa Bay, 39 point total. I do like this game. If we're going to box, we have to spar. That's what Mike Tomlin said regarding whether or not his starters would play in week 1 of the preseason versus the Bucs. Great line, by the way. It's a phenomenal line. It does make some sense, though, because you look at a bunch of young starters. You know, Kenny Pickett, young starter, needs some reps going into year 2. But also you have Mitch Trubisky behind them. You have Mason Rudolph. They should get some opportunities as well. You know, I think Pickett probably gets a quarter, if not more. Tomlin's also 37-24 in the preseason. He's 31-29-1 against the spread. But if you look at dating back to 2017, he's 12-4 straight up in those games. And on the other hand, Todd Bowles is 7-12 in the preseason, 8-11 against the spread. And it's crazy to think that with the Bucs having two guys battling for a quarterback role as starters in Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask, that I'd be going the opposite direction here. But I actually like the Steelers at -2.5. Mayfield and Trask have inspired just zero confidence in anybody up until this point. And especially knowing that Pickett could actually get a decent amount of playing time on the Steelers side of this game. And, you know, there's nothing to say that Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask are going to make you feel confident, especially including the fact that Tomlin, particularly over the last handful of seasons, has been dominant in the preseason, has a winning record against the spread, a clear winning record straight up as a head coach, and you're only laying 2.5 points where key numbers matter less, but a field goal still gets you the win here. Give me the 2.5. We'll lay the 2.5 on the Steelers. In the last game, man, this is a good one. Denver Broncos -5.5 at Arizona, 37-point total. Sean Payton expects his starters to play between 15 and 18 snaps. So, I mean, look at it this way. If you were to take 15 snaps in a quarter, you're talking around 60 snaps a game. If you were to take 18 snaps, you know, that's what, another 12? Talking like, this seems to me like a quarter, right? That's what it sounds like. Like the starters on the offensive and defensive side, unless we get further information that I'm currently unaware of, recording this on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern, I think you get about a quarter from the starters. And I get it. You know, just a dreadful season under Nathaniel Hackett last year. Russell Wilson had his worst season in the NFL by a long shot. And now you got a brand new coach and Sean Payton, brand new to the Broncos, obviously. I think this is helpful information, and I think we're probably going to get a quarter from these guys. Keep that in mind as we keep going because it's important. Jonathan Gannon said Colt McCoy is going to play. We don't know how much. He didn't tell us how much. He also said winning is the number one priority here. But, I mean, yeah, any rookie head coach is going to say that type of stuff. But behind Colt McCoy, it's Clayton Tune and David Blau. Yeah, Clayton Tune and David Blau. Backing up Wilson, Jared Stidham and Ben DiNucci. DiNucci's got some good preseason experience, and he's been fine. But Stidham's all right. But really, it comes down to this. Gannon's got no history as a head coach. Peyton's 29-31, which doesn't tell us much of anything at all. You know, just kind of average. But honestly, if Peyton intends on playing his starters around the quarter, which is what I don't know, we think, right? Sounds about right. It's going to be tough sledding for McCoy because it's not just like, okay, Wilson can go out there against a bad Arizona defense, even if it's the starters. But Colt McCoy, if he's out there, is going to have to go up against the Denver defense, which was absolutely dominant all season long. You remember it was like if the Broncos had just averaged, what was it, like 18 points or 20 points per game or something, they would have only lost 3 games. I don't remember the stat exactly, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Crazy how good the defense was. The offense was just so bad that it overshadowed everything they did. If the assumption is that, and the Cardinals have arguably the worst roster in all of football heading into the regular season, you might have an opportunity where the Broncos just are dominant enough early in this game to where they hold on to the lead and they cover. So as much as I hate laying the points, this many points, 5.5 in a preseason game, I'm actually going to go Broncos -5.5 here with the hope that Wilson and the Broncos defense can get them off to a good start. Big, maybe not even big, but just significant enough early lead in the first quarter before they hand it over to the backup. So that's what I see here. I'm laying the 5.5 on Denver. I'm going to go Steelers -2.5. Also, I like the under there if I didn't mention it. 39 points is a lot between Pittsburgh and Tampa. I'll lean Miami +2.5, but I really want nothing to do with this. Leaning Browns -3. Cleveland -3, as I mentioned, and then over 35 in that Detroit and New York Giants game. And to close it out, Bengals +4.5 against Green Bay there in Cincinnati. So appreciate you guys watching. As always, hit that thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel. And like I said, take advantage of every opportunity you can to get free money, because it's the best kind of money. Link in the description and in the pinned comment. Get you all of the promos to every book, no matter what they currently have. We got you covered. Get the best odds. Make your money stretch as far as it can go, and take their free money when they're giving it to you. And we'll see you back here tomorrow for Saturday and Sunday's games. Peace.